Welcome, and let's talk about the SATs. For starters, the SAT is mainly used for admissions to US colleges and universities. So, if you're thinking about attending Ivy League institutions like Harvard and Yale, you might want to take a closer look at this test. Ideally, you would want to score above 1500 out of a possible 1600 to be competitive for the most selective colleges. At Icon Plus, we're proud that over 90% of our students are in the 90th percentile, making the majority of students eligible for top institutions. So, what's on the test? Well, the SAT is a 3-hour pen and paper test and contains 3 components: reading, writing a language, and math. Majority of the questions are multiple choice. For the first 2 components, you'll be tested on reading comprehension, interpretation, inference, and editorial expression. For the math section, some topics included are linear equations and inequalities, quadratic equations, trigonometry, and statistics. Guiding you through the solutions is Lynn. She's a graduate of Yale Lanier's College and is a highly proficient test taker. Lynn has obtained perfect scores in the ISAT, SAT Math, and PTE. Additionally, she has scored in the 99th percentile for the SAT and UCAT. Basically, you're in great hands. Now that you're more familiar with the format, let's get you acquainted with some sample questions. Before we begin, you may want to have pen and paper ready. In a moment, questions will pop up, and you are encouraged to try them out as we go along. Pause the video when you are attempting the question, and resume when you are done. Our expert coaches will then follow up with the solution. Are you ready for question 1?
This sentence can be divided into 2 halves. The first half, according to the critics, the latest season of the sitcom was tasteless. The second half, according to the audience, it was better than ever. If you replaced the comma in the mid of the sentence with a full stop, each half would be perfectly correct and functional on its own as a grammatically complete sentence. In grammatical jargon, each of these 2 halves is known as an independent clause. This question is testing you on one of the most important principles of punctuation. If you have 2 independent clauses joined together to create a single sentence, and they are connected with only a comma in between them, this creates a grammatical error known as a comma splice, or aka a run-on sentence. Instead, you need to either use a semicolon or include a coordinating conjunction, such as and or but, together with the comma. This is the reason why the original sentence, option A, is incorrect. Option B, which has no punctuation at all, does not make sense. The clauses must be connected using some form of punctuation. This leaves us with options C and D. In fact, as far as grammar is concerned, both C and D are correct. As I just mentioned, one way to fix the run-on sentence is to add a coordinating conjunction after the comma, which is what is happening in both C and D. The difference between them only boils down to meaning. The 2 halves of the sentence are in contrast to each other. So, but in option D fits the sentence more logically than and in option C. Therefore, D is the best answer for our question. The key to answering this question is to realize that the graph of fx, y equals ax squared, is symmetric about the y-axis. This is because for any value of x, fx and f of minus x will always give you the same value for y. Therefore, we can deduce that the 2 points A and B must lie at an equal distance from the y-axis. Since the distance between A and B is 8, the distance from each point to the y-axis should be 4. This helps us derive the coordinates of A and B. A will have to be -4, 2, and B has to be 4, 2. Now that we know the coordinates of A and B, we can substitute one of them into the equation to find the value of A. For example, let's substitute x equals 4 and y equals 2 into the equation y equals ax squared. This gives us 2 is equal to 16a, and so a will have to be 2 divided by 16, which is equal to 1/8. The correct answer for this question is D.
How did you fare? And no worries if you weren't quite there. To best gauge your performance, we encourage you to sit for a diagnostic test. Lucky for you, Icon Plus administers free diagnostic tests and you can register for it directly on our website. With over 20 years of experience coaching students, Icon Plus is the go-to center for all your test prep needs. Our expert coaches hail from leading institutions and our resources are unparalleled. Come chat with our consultants about how we can best support your learning goals. We look forward to meeting you and all the best as you take your first step to success.